Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back here for another night of Claim to Fame, episode 8. We're down to just the final 4 after this one as JR took the long walk back to Old Town Road here on tonight's Claim to Fame here. Back with us, of course, my co-host for Claim to Fame, the great Jenny Autumn. Jenny, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm very grateful you're not pulling a Kevin Jonas and leaving me to host the podcast alone tonight. I would not be as excited as Franklin.
Did you miss him? Yeah.
No, I mean, listen, it's no joke. Like everyone knows that I am a Franklin Jonas stan. So if we're gonna get one of them for an episode, I'm very happy it's Franklin. He is again pure joy. But I think that I like the dynamic of the two of them. So I guess I did miss Kevin a little bit, but it could have been fine. But the point is that I would never want to do this podcast without you. So I'm glad that you didn't flex on me.
Yes. Well, Jenny, between the two of us, we are the real JR.
Whoa. And I hope nobody shoots us.
Yes. Oh my God. All right. But back with us, very excited to talk some claim to fame with this man, very busy podcaster and of course, social media personality. Please welcome Scally. Scally, how are you?
Oh, hello. I'm excited to be back talking about one of my favorite shows right now.
Yeah.
And on one of my favorite podcasts, I did decide to wear my most colorful jacket in anticipation.
You wear colorful jackets.
I figured it's the talk of the town. Let's break
You're
it
getting
down.
guests next week.
Wow. All right. Okay. All right. Mike Bloom, eat your heart out. Scally is wearing a costume. Wow.
What the heck? Have I ever seen this jacket before?
No.
Why not?
An Eras Tour reject.
Oh,
but I did hold on to it. So
you should wear that.
Yeah.
I better see you wearing that at an RHAP event in the future because that is gorgeous.
Colorful jackets. Are you from Utah also?
Have you met Elvis Presley?
I am more from Utah than Elton John, so
Yeah.
that is fair.
Yes, be closer. So good. I can't believe Chris got guessed wrong again. And Jenny, I need next week Carson to guess Chris's relative is Prince. I need it so
Here's
bad.
the thing. I can't decide whether I need it or whether I can't bear it. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's so hard to watch at this point. Like to see the conversations. They threw out Prince this week. I can't do this anymore.
There was literally no evidence for Billy Idol. Nothing. There was not one thing
idol
pointing to White Wedding, anything, Scally. And they went in with his, as Chappelle would say, with his full chest. This man is Billy Idol's relative, famous teen idol from the 70s.
I don't know if JR had ever heard the name Billy Idol before this week. It felt like that might not have been the case. I don't know if any of them had. Somehow it just came across their minds because there was not a single clue other than colorful jackets. And
there was a dollar bill. Okay.
Yes. Oh my! How I forget.
There was one shoe, as one would do, and they dance by themselves.
Yeah, you only need one shoe to dance by yourself, as we all know.
Yes, and yeah.
So how old was Billy Idol in the 70s? Like they're taking this so literally, like was he a teen in the 70s? So they're like teen named Idol in the 70s.
Yeah,
like,
so Billy Idol, again, I'm not the world's biggest Billy Idol expert.
More of a Joel guy.
So yeah. Yes. So I guess he did start performing in the 70s, in 76. He's born
was he a teen?
1955.
Okay.
So
no,
I guess so he was
not.
so he was a teen in the beginning of the 70s.
Okay.
But was he an idol then? I guess he was Billy Idol. So he was literally a teen idol in the 70s.
The problem like that they took this so literally when they never do this with any other clue. And I just think that like they are so blinded by their need to get Chris out that they are not thinking logically anymore, and they
hate him
care
so much.
They care more about getting Chris out than keeping themselves in the game. And I just think that is so short-sighted. Like the Elton John last week, even though that was ridiculous, at least they were able to grab a few clues that they were like shoehorning into this theory. And perhaps they are just, a lapse of judgment, forgetting that he is not from the United States, or I don't know. But this, I cannot co-sign this. This was too much for me.
It's too much. Yeah, Scally, I think people are forgetting that the claim to fame, like rule number one, not to say that there's rules, okay? You can play the game however you want. But I feel like that we need like the Sandra Diaz Twine to stop. It's like, again, it's anybody but me. If you know somebody, guess them, even if they're your friend, as opposed to a wild guess.
Yeah, it's all about like, just get to the finale where hopefully someone that went home early knows who this is, because otherwise you're losing anyway. And then, make him the guesser and hope he doesn't know who you are at the end. Like, there's multiple ways to win this. Most certainly the top of the list is not guess him until all of your alliance members go home.
Until we run out of names. Yeah.
And also it's like, if you are really not sure about him, and then that ultimately ends up being how he wins, because no one is confident enough on a guess to take a shot at him, then so be it. I just would not ever want this to be the way I go out. Like that, when you know somebody else, and there's another challenge. You might get some better information next week. Well, guess what? You're not going to be there next week if you're taking a shot in the dark that you aren't even sure about. Like, why, JR?
Yeah, and also Chris is not that good at the game. He's sneaky. He's a snake, but his guesses are trash. That he
knows nothing.
Monet is related to Jaleel White. Just let him guess. Let him beat the guess off.
Obviously, this was my big thing for after watching this episode. Obviously, it was not an option for this episode because he was not in the bottom two. He could not be voted in as the guesser. But this is what they should be focusing their attention on at this point. Like, you need to get Chris to be guessing somebody incorrectly. And guess how you do that? By taking out Carson this week, because that is someone that he can guess if he's the guesser. So you know that he doesn't know Gabriel. You know that he doesn't know Monet. Yes, I guess if JR stays here, takes out Carson, then he could be guessed by Chris next week. But that is their only way of getting him out at this point. They need him to be forced to take a shot on either Monet or Gabriel. And that is what I think that was what Monet and Gabriel needed to do at this point. Be like, listen, we're going to lose Carson. We're going to lose JR. It's going to be down to the three of us. And we just have to hope that he's stuck having to guess one of us and he doesn't know. And then it's down to you and I, between Gabriel and Monet. Now that could still happen, but they need to stop guessing this man. Just stop.
Stop. Even if they had more clues, Scally, I'm pretty sure nobody in the house left has even heard of Donny Osmond. Nobody knows who Donny Osmond is, that they could basically get the letters of the name rearranged like a Danny Mosend.
Yeah, it's the thing where I have heard of Donny Osmond, probably knew he was on Dancing with the Stars at some point, but I don't think there's a single clue other than his sister is Marie that I would understand who he is. My mom walks by the TV, passes the mom test, sees him flash on screen, and it's just oh, Donny Osmond. And I was like, please stop spoiling me on this show. But otherwise, there's almost nothing I feel that I would get. So I understand why they are absolutely spun around over Donny Osmond.
Okay. I want to talk through everything from tonight's episode, but there was some really big news in the Claim to Fame world. The Claim to Fame Nation was rocked this week, as last week we saw Hugo go home, and then we got some news, and I believe it was people.com that had it first, but guess who's dating from Claim to Fame? If you're not on Claim to Fame social media, you missed out on the announcement that Olivia and Hugo are now an item.
Shook.
Yeah.
Love it. Confused. Excited. our first claim to fame couple. This is lovely. But I was not. It broke my brain at first, quite honestly.
Yeah,
it's the Mad Libs. Like you could have picked any two characters. Like and there, okay, adjective, verb with ing, dating. Okay, moving on. Like I was floored.
I don't know, and their ages are I don't have them stored in my brain right now, but like in my head, Hugo is a child. Like
I think he just looks like a child.
Yes, but that because I don't actually know how old he is, in my head he's like, and he was referred to as one of the babies in the house, because I think there was like when it was Travis who was the true baby of the house, but then I think when someone was like, oh, which baby? Hugo, I think, is the other baby, because to me he does look very young. And it's not to say that Olivia doesn't look young. I just, like, in my head they were not in the same like age group that I would link the two of them. And listen, love, it doesn't necessarily mean, like, there's nothing wrong if they're like 5 or like 10 years apart, let's say. They're both adults, but in my head they were very different ages.
Okay,
so
so
I was like,
all
very
right, I don't
confused
have
by
his
this.
exact age, but there is a picture I see of Jimmy Carter showing a giant globe to young Hugo, who was 10 in 2009. So I think he's about 24 then.
Okay. And like maybe Olivia's like 26. Like who am I to say?
It is 27 and 23
Yeah.
is the
Okay,
age difference at the time of filming.
fine.
Yeah.
I do think maybe the bigger obstacle is how is Hugo getting along with Aunt Jenny? But
Yes.
otherwise,
Yes.
what a great couple we have.
Have we ever addressed like why in Olivia's official cast photo for Claim to Fame
gosh.
does she look like that she just walked off of the set of Game of Thrones, or it came from
She
a
looks
Renaissance
like a video
fair?
game
Yeah.
character or something. Is that like some sort of like hunting camo type corset thing? What is
Mhm.
if it does look kind of like it came from Bass Pro Shops, like,
The dual purpose.
but then it's got like kind of like a bondage-esque sort of chain necklace thing. I don't know what this outfit is, but it is inspired.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
And then you just
wanna-
have Hugo in his little polo. Like, it's just an odd couple. I love it.
yeah. Scally, do we have a ship name for Hugo and Olivia?
I could not even. Olgo.
We're not going with Olivia.
Call them Olgo.
I think Olgo is sticking.
Olgo sounds like a card game or something.
Olgo. Yeah. All right. So that's what's going
I'm so
on.
happy. I love
Love. We love love. Okay.
Yeah.
So incredible from Claim to Fame. All right. Let's start to talk through this episode, because this was like the most dramatic opening to an episode that we had. And I think that this was probably maybe the most dramatic moment that we've had in the history of Claim to Fame, as we had this confrontation between Chris and Gabriel to open the show tonight. Usually the mornings start, it's like breakfast, it's like everybody's goofing off. But Jenny, we opened on Chris ending up he revealed to Gabriel, hey, I have to tell you something. I showed Carson your clue. Gabriel's like, bro, I know.
Yes. Yeah, which was a nice twist for the viewers, because I don't think that, did we see in the episode last week that Gabriel was, they always splice these clips together where like they make it look like someone's listening in, and it wasn't actually happening at that scene. So I'm not sure if they had actually given us any indication that Gabriel was there, but apparently Gabriel reveals, yeah, I was literally standing there and watching you show her. Which is like, oh, yeah. Chris, you are so messy. I mean, we knew he was messy, but like, I didn't think he was
He's
like
very
that
messy.
messy.
Yeah.
So, Chris has a guilty conscience here, because he's like, I thought Carson was going, and I believe that, he truly did think Carson was going. He didn't think that Hugo was going to guess him. And he messed up by showing the clue. So he has to tell Gabriel so that he doesn't hear it from someone first. But it turns out he did already hear it from his own eyes.
Yes, that Gabriel was hiding in his spy shack.
Yeah. I mean, look, I would never doubt Gabriel. I would never underestimate him, but
Mhm.
I don't know what Chris expected. I feel like he was like, I need to tell him so I can smooth things over, and then reacted very poorly to any reaction that Gabriel was going to have here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I think it was poorly handled. I think mostly by Chris, but then things
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then
escalated,
things
and then
escalate. This things escalated.
yeah.
So Gabriel basically like comes back and says like, hey, this was a character thing, and I can't, and disrespected me. I trusted you, and I want to see the difference between us in terms of like this dynamic. And Chris was spinning, and he said, "Well, I'm trying to play the game." It's like, "Yeah, I'm playing the game too, but I wouldn't do this to you." And then ultimately, but then it kind of escalated. Like I felt like that Gabriel had the high ground, and then he starts to get upset with, well, first off, actually he's like the person who's like very calmly saying things that are getting like Chris very excited. But then as Chris is getting excited by the provoking that Gabriel is doing, like, why are you getting, hey, why, I'm just talking. Why are you getting so worked up? Because he calls him out for being pampered, which seemed to be like a little bit of a trigger for Chris.
Oh yeah.
He did not like that. He's
No.
like, yeah, you're just not used to being called out, and I'm just calling you out for being, a pampered little baby like you are. Like,
I kind of like loved this fight because I feel like I want to see more men fighting like this.
mhm,
Because like at least like I feel like we don't see these kinds of
yeah,
like arguments between men on on shows, and so I felt like Chris was screwing himself here because Gabriel was, you know, honestly coming from a place of emotion, but calmly saying like, yeah, like that kind of showed me that like who you are, and that's kind of hurtful, and I wouldn't have done that to you.
mhm,
And the worst way to validate someone's feelings is to say, well, it's just a game, which is essentially what Chris was doing. Like he was
yes,
basically being like, okay, but I'm playing a game, so
no
like
accountability.
yeah, so
Mhm.
he really wasn't, you know, taking any accountability for how that would make Gabriel feel as like, they're brothers. They've been working together. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm,
they have a personal relationship and a game relationship, and Chris was showing that it like he would do things differently than Gabriel would, and that was something that kind of hurt Gabriel's feelings. And Chris is just basically like, well, it's a game, so I guess I'm just playing it better than you. Like that's not what he said, but this is kind of what he is inferring. And I just felt like, he's going to escalate Gabriel's frustration by continuing to invalidate him by saying like, but it's a game and it's a game and I'm playing
Yeah.
the game.
That's the thing is it's like Gabriel basically is saying like, all right, you were shady, and then Chris is like, well, no, and it's like, well, then why did you choose to have this conversation if you're not acknowledging you were wrong? Chris is like, I didn't have to have this conversation. Well, it's like, then why are you like, why are you here? So any like then further like escalation, I'm just like, all right, like you are denying like the basic premise of why you're having the conversation anyway, so I'm not gonna follow.
And
mhm,
I think that if you're Chris, you say, yes, that was shady of me. I hope you understand that, I thought that I was just going to get a little bit of information from someone who was going out the door. I did not think that I was giving information to someone that could hurt you because I thought they were leaving. I messed up there. I shouldn't have done it in the first place because I know now that you wouldn't have done that to me. And I'm sorry, and I hope we can move on from this. Like
yeah.
that's
But I don't think
that's
Chris was
hard.
treating it like an apology, like, "Hey, Gabriel, I have to tell you something. I feel terrible." It's like, I just gotta give you a heads up, okay? Something happened. And it's like, "Hey, I crashed the car, but I just wanna let you know the car is crashed." But there was no, like, "And I am so sorry.
Mhm.
I screwed this up so bad. Please, please I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." But yeah, and Gabriel wanted him to be accountable. And then, I think that called him a big crybaby.
Yeah, I love the like. Well, I thought she was going home. I didn't know that she was going to be able to take you out. I just wanted myself to be able to take you
To take
out.
you
So,
out eventually.
like,
Mhm.
and which look, that is the game eventually, but the
Yeah.
argument was founded on like shaky ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just very interesting, like a switch flipped in Chris when Gabriel uses the word pampered. And he's like, now
Mhm.
that's personal. And I'm like, oh wow, I've heard people say way worse, but you called him pampered. Like that was definitely a trigger for Chris. So yeah, and then he kind of storms out of the room because like
Mhm.
it's becoming a personal attack. I'm like, oh boy, saying that someone is pampered is a personal attack. Like,
Mhm.
listen,
And a crybaby.
I
Yeah.
am team like feelings are valid, yes, but that just feels like a
Mhm.
little bit of an exaggeration. A personal attack? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, Chris was in a really good position with Gabriel as an ally. Like Gabriel, we had been saying for weeks that Gabriel should not be trusting Chris, and he really like took a leap of faith and said, "Okay, basically, like Chris is my guy." He picked him as his partner in the last challenge, and then it really came back to burn him. I think that Gabriel is really feeling like that this was such a betrayal.
Yeah.
Gabriel found out he's not the exception to the rule, you know, because he knew that how Chris plays because he thought he was playing with him and that Gabriel was the one person that he wasn't going to
Mhm.
do this kind of stuff to. And
Yeah.
he found out that he is not the exception.
Okay,
I'm
so
wondering from Chris's point of view, like when is it okay to share the clue? Like if we make it to finale, am I then allowed to ask other people what this means? Or is this still off limits? When does this promise
Yeah.
carry through?
Do you think
mhm.
that they had a conversation about like at what point do we like what numbers are we getting down to where we obviously have to start taking a shot? But like the problem the and this is where like I definitely think Chris mishandled it, but I understand where Chris is coming from and how he was like trying to get info from Carson on the way out is like he doesn't know who the clue that he got for Gabriel doesn't help him. He doesn't know. And Gabriel also doesn't know who Chris is. So like he does kind of have a right to be trying to get some information because Chris's clue has long been out there and shared amongst people. They've had a lot of time to talk about who Chris could be, falling all over themselves as they do it. So I don't think that it's like terrible for Chris to be like, listen, we're getting down to it. And if I don't know how to discern this, I might need to get some information. But he's at least trying to get it from people who aren't going to be able to take, in his mind, aren't going to be able to take out Gabriel himself. So like I can kind of see the defense from Chris in that sense where it's like, I need something on you too. Like we have to be in this kind of the same, but
Yeah.
it
And
was just totally mishandled.
he just needed not to say like you can totally trust me, I'll never betray you like minutes
Yeah.
before they're walking in the vault. Like just don't say that and then just
Exactly.
still do it.
And like this
Like,
must have
you'll be
happened like
fine.
minutes after they left the wine room or
Yeah.
something, right? So
Mhm. Okay. So Gabriel goes and tells JR, hey, look, this is what Chris is about. And now everybody even Gabriel is on board with, okay, we got to get rid of Chris.
everybody hates
So
Chris.
everybody hates Chris once again. So we see JR and Carson talking. All right, think residency in Vegas. Who could it be? Colorful
Jack.
jackets. Yes, it's Prince. Prince certainly related to Chris.
I screamed.
The resemblance is uncanny.
It's so absurd on so many levels. I have to pause the episode because first of all, like you wouldn't have figured out one other Prince clue. Like there's not a single other one that you could have figured out by now.
Is
So
there anything
that's
purple on the wall? Like, yeah. They
No
go
raspberry beret
yeah.
on the wall.
Like there would be so many.
Something is the clue wall. I think itself might be purple.
Is it? I thought it was multicolor.
Yeah,
I was saying we needed a one color clue wall like last year. They're like, does he wear a colorful jacket? And
there
then
is a crown.
okay,
Okay.
sure. JR goes, yeah, a purple one. Purple is a color.
Mhm.
So anyone who wears a jacket that is a single color once, that counts. Like,
yeah. That looks like the lost and found at a saloon.
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. This is a yard sale. Like,
Yeah, not a lot of evidence pointing to Prince. I wouldn't
What
think.
is Prince on this wall? Like, at least last week with Elton John, they found a few things that said, okay, yeah, the spaceman could have been Tom Hanks, but what if it's Rocket Man? Oh, there's a tiny little ballerina,
Yeah,
tiny dancer.
I mean,
Like, what were
frankly,
they
I think it
finding
was
for
Neil
Prince?
deGrasse Tyson.
Well, that again. Well, and that's why I've been saying I think that they rightfully chose multiple clues that could be shoehorned for multiple people. I think that is a good way to use the clue wall. But what were they didn't even say anything to do with Prince. They're just like he wore a colorful jacket, purple, one color.
Yeah, did he do a residency in Vegas? I don't know. Probably.
I don't know. Sure. And
that's enough.
Spitting image for Chris.
Yes, that's very much so. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay. So then they are talking about Billy Idol again, and they really are talking about they have to stop Chris. All right. So we get Franklin on the phone, and Franklin comes alive because he is going to get the news that Kevin Jonas can't make it.
He's busy with the band.
Yeah.
I want to know what Kevin was busy with. I feel like Kevin is the least busy of the Jonas Brothers, so I would be surprised if he had prior engagement.
Well, he must have something going on because he keeps going to Jonas Brothers stuff.
I believe that they had, I don't know if it was a residency or like some sort of thing in Vegas during the filming of this. So I think we've determined that the filming was like around February, especially based on Hugo's comments about Jimmy Carter just going into hospice. So I think that the Jonas Brothers had some. Did they have a residency in Vegas? Because I know that the first time when he left,
they're on tour now.
Yes.
Well, he left during that one challenge because he had to go play a show in Vegas, I believe. So I think that they were playing multiple shows nearby. I guess
MGM Grand.
Have to go back and check the tour dates, but
yes,
he said that he was busy with the band.
Yes,
so not on his
own. They're going to be
at
Yankee Stadium this weekend.
Yeah, I might be going tonight. We'll see.
Oh,
it's a possibility.
Yes,
undetermined.
Okay, yeah, I know that they are coming here later on in the fall. So Jonas Brothers are all over. Raleigh, North Carolina, September 28th.
I feel like they're probably coming to Toronto.
I don't know. This.
Coming up Saturday, August 19th.
Oh, okay.
This coming weekend.
Next weekend. All right.
Yeah.
Get out on the field and see if you can get some exclusives. Anyway, so we get our challenge here, 6 degrees of separation. But Scally, the real story here, was this Otev?
Yeah, I guess so. Without like running up the like slippery goo wall, basically this is Otev.
Yes.
I loved it. Because he did something
Franklin,
like this.
I've brought you Gwen Stefani.
Yeah, it needed the Big Brother gross aspect besides just mud. Like I needed some sort of, we needed Franklin in like a big suit and like throwing up on them or something like gross. Like it was missing a little bit of the camp from Big Brother. But I did love the Otev style of it all.
Because unlike Big Brother, in Big Brother, it's like no holds barred. Here we had Carson disqualified from a round for pushing.
I loved it.
Yeah,
because we got warning. She said, I've been known to throw elbows. Carson terrifies me, actually. I will say. She just like always has game face on. Like I don't know if and listen, I'm the last person that should be saying like smile more to a woman.
She has resting game face,
but she does have resting game face. She just
RGF.
seems like very serious, and I am intimidated by
That's
it.
the Earnhardt energy, Jenny. That's
I guess
they have
so.
to have that icy stare.
I didn't know that was like an Earnhardt thing, but she scares me, and I know now that she would physically fight me to win a competition. So I'm rightfully terrified of her.
Yeah. Get her on the challenge.
Okay.
I co-sign that. That sounds great.
Sure. Okay, so I think this was a fun challenge. I do think that there was like some trolling going on in that people that were showing up, like Mariah Carey, who has the famous relationship with Nick Cannon, ends up being a clue for somebody else. Like I do think that there
I
was
love that.
sometimes where they were messing with people. So that was really fun. All the ways that these people intersected.
Because
And
they don't know, because the way that it worked was they didn't know what, like, until they got closer
right.
to the 6 degrees whose clue it was going to be. So having people there that like you could maybe make the connection to multiple people made it more interesting, so that people, because we literally see this play out with Monet where she thinks she's going to protect her own clue
Mhm.
and ends up getting Gabriel's. So I loved that part because it, obviously you're trying to win as many of them as possible because you're either getting information on other people or you're protecting your own information. But I loved the idea of like trying to figure out also whose clue you're going, because maybe you'll go extra hard if it's yours and you have to protect it. I
Yeah.
loved that they had overlap.
Also, there were a lot of wrong answers. People, our claim to fame faves are not always like the pop culture icons that you don't necessarily, maybe with the exception of Monet, Scally, you don't want too many of these people on your bar trivia team.
No, not at all. Get them all a subscription to Mess Magnets. They really need like a crash course because the
Well, for
idea
the
of
Earnhardts, yeah.
Oh no.
the idea of Amy Poehler in Twilight and Pitch Perfect was very iconic to me. And
Yeah.
I think that we should get a remake.
So this was very fun to see the wrong answer. Sometimes it seems like that they made you just hold up,
Pick
the
up wherever
answer,
you landed.
wherever you were.
Yeah.
But I refuse to believe that. I want to believe that every answer that was held up, Jenny, was what
Oh,
they actually thought.
trust me, there was a point where I literally laughed out loud because it was like super freaky girl rapper, and the cut to Chris holding up Owen Wilson.
Yes,
Like
no, he
I
really thinks
lost
that.
it.
Yes,
Like it was, I'm like, no, I fully believe in my heart that that was Chris's answer,
Yeah.
whether it was just the only available option at that point or not. Like that was
Okay.
perfect.
All right. So they opened up. The first clue was for Anna Kendrick. JR has never heard of her. Scally, sometimes you're just a celebrity watching the show and then you just catch strays from these people.
Yeah, I guess Anna Kendrick's celebrity relative will not be showing up anytime soon. Not famous
Mhm.
enough for
Yeah.
JR.
Okay. Then we went from Anna Kendrick to Gwen Stefani. Everybody knew that. Okay. Gwen Stefani is married to, the correct answer is Blake Shelton. But we had some guesses of Danica Patrick and Gabriel thought J-Lo.
This was too
This was
good.
great.
Like,
Mhm.
and also I loved that Chris was the one I think that ended up holding up Danica Patrick. And I think at this point he's just like, that sounds like a country singer. Because he says that he knows that Gwen is married to Luke Bryan, but
Yes.
he can't find Luke Bryan's name.
Also,
Like,
you're wrong.
everyone on these shows, the only country singer they know is Luke Bryan, because we saw this last year,
Yeah.
like in season 1, where it was like a country singer, Luke Bryan. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah.
He's the Jeff Gordon of country singers.
He is, yes.
I am everyone on these shows because I see a white man on the show and I was like, Luke Bryan every time.
Like,
I always
country
think.
artist Luke Bryan. I don't know.
Yes.
But I just loved that Chris like knew the name Luke Bryan.
Where's Luke
Because,
Bryan in our Luke rankings, by the way? That's another podcast.
listen, I don't know enough about Luke Bryan, but I feel like just by default he's got to be up there recently. So, yeah,
Top Luke
I don't know.
for sure.
Clearing a low bar.
Doesn't take much, but by default, perhaps. Good Lord.
Okay, it comes down to Monet and Carson, and then this one was weird, right? Because that Blake Shelton worked with, and they end up with, like, you had to hold up
Maroon
the
5.
band Maroon
Yes,
5,
I
right?
did not under that. Well, I thought these were all supposed to be celebrities. The fact that the clue said Maroon 5, they were
Does
referring
Adam
to
Levine
Adam
have like
Levine.
some sort of like cease and desist of
They're
like,
like, you can't say my name.
get your damn name off your show. You are not allowed. Does he have beef with the Jonas Brothers? Why did they not say Adam Levine?
It made no sense too, because like the point was these are all celebrities. And so when you get a clue that is in the form of like the form of the question indicates that it is not a person, it is a band, and unless they had a bunch of bands also on these
Well,
stars, like
okay,
then it's like
so
obviously Maroon 5.
I guess that if you would have said like, okay, well then Blake Shelton worked with the front man of
Of Maroon
Maroon 5 is who is blank. It's like, okay, Adam Levine. But the next clue was supposed to be that Danica Patrick was in the Maroon 5 video. So then you sort of have to then unwind it of like Adam Levine and his
Whose
band.
band
Yeah, I
was
guess so.
who featured
figure
this
this
person in his
Yeah.
band's video. Like I
Yeah.
think that there's I don't know. I think that
Scally, this wasn't after the writers went on strike, right? That they
Ooh.
came up with these games.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we could have spun it as like the singer who sings like "She Will Be Loved" or something. Like, give a different clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a way to connect it and have it say Adam Levine and not Maroon 5, and I just don't understand why they did that. And Rob, he must have some sort of thing where do not mention my name. Or maybe like
Adam
after
Levine.
all of the stuff that came out about all of like his shady texts and stuff that his publicists were like, he's not allowed to be said on any
family
television
show.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we only name
they
people
did
who are
wait till it was
canceled
10
after
p.m.
the show.
We only have their
Yeah, we
relatives
only
on the
cancel
show. Okay, we don't bring up randomly canceled people.
We wait.
Now, if he has a relative that wants to play next season, that's a different story.
Bring him in.
But then we get from to Danica Patrick, and then Carson is able to get Danica Patrick. Was this the one that Monet didn't know, or there was only one Danica Patrick?
I think that they got down to where there was only one.
Anyway,
left.
so we see where Carson gets the clue for this one, and the clue ends up being that on this person was on Danica Patrick's podcast.
Danica has a podcast.
Yeah. Now I have to know all the episodes of the Danica Patrick podcast to get the clue.
I think that like it's just the podcast part is the least helpful part of this clue. The thing is like, okay, if you know who Danica Patrick is, and then you're gonna know other racers. So the clue that is very indicative.
Oh, Neil deGrasse Tyson was also a guest on the Danica Patrick podcast.
Okay, if only Travis was still here.
They repurposed the clue.
But it was the part that said who spoke about his career and his late father. And sure, I mean, I guess that if your late father wasn't also in the industry that you are in, that you might talk about them on the podcast. But like that being part of the clue makes it very, very clear that this is Dale Earnhardt Jr., especially because it's like it makes it, if anyone was unsure or worried about, do I guess Dale Earnhardt or Dale Earnhardt Jr.? Am I going to be wrong if I just say Dale Earnhardt? Like, this makes it very obvious that it is Junior that is like the person that they're saying that Carson is related to here. So I think that like, even though it seems that they all know Carson now, this clue is so obvious. And if they didn't know her already, like this would have been so clutch for her to get for herself to like keep that. Because I just felt it was like so obvious. If you know who Danica Patrick is, the part about them talking about their career and their late father makes it very, very clear which race car driver this is.
Yeah, I'm still looking at the Danica Patrick podcast guests. Jenny, I feel like that there is a shockingly low amount of people that have been on other Rob and Jenny celebrity shows. You would think that there would be a lot more overlap, but shockingly, there hasn't been.
What is her podcast about?
I think it's just general. I'm sure she talks to like racing people, but then she also
Or like
has
people that are interested, like celebrities that follow racing.
I
Because
don't
like,
know. I think she talks to like just like general interest people,
is
but
it
you would
like
have
God
thought
101?
I don't know. Nothing is
It's
like God
exactly like
101.
that.
Nothing is like God 101. That's one of a kind. Okay. All right. So
Get Julie on there.
yeah. All right. Shout out to our fellow podcaster, Danica Patrick.
Danica has a podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
Dap.
All right. Round 2 starts with Mr. Worldwide. Okay.
Taryn's favorite rapper.
Yeah.
That is a deep pull, by the way.
Mhm.
I'm just going to say. Real ones, no.
And then we go to and then he did On the Floor with this actress from the Bronx. Okay.
J-Lo.
And Gabriel says his knowledge is low. Ironically, the answer was J-Lo.
His knowledge is low. It is
Yeah.
J-Lo. I just want to say, like,
he did answer Jamie Lee Curtis.
that's who he's.
I want all of these, like, at least mocked up the posters. Give me them
Yeah.
all.
Yes. I know. I need these to be we need the concept art for all of these like alternative universes. where
Pitbull
these
and
people,
Jamie Lee Curtis collaborate.
Yes, are in. Yes, I love
It's
it. I want to
truly
see
a
the
Freaky
connection.
Friday.
Those like TikTok AI songs with Jamie Lee
Yes.
Curtis's voice.
Oh my goodness, please. I think that so one of the funny things about me hosting this podcast is that like I'm not a big celebrity person. I don't watch a lot of movies. So I'm not good enough at this to make it too easy for me. But I will say I think that I would have absolutely nailed this challenge because
Yes.
when I know the answers to basically all of them, like that is a sign that and I don't know if that means that I know more than I thought or whether it was like too easy and the real challenge was just finding the names and making sure you were fast enough in the mud because I really think that like if the names were there, the names were all turned over, right? Like they could see them on they didn't have to like flip them over
No,
or
they didn't have
anything
to
like
flip
they
them over,
would
no.
in like an OTEV. But I have like the name recognition sort of thing. So it's like if I didn't know it off the top of my head, if I had seen the name, it will trigger that thought. And I don't know if that is like a unique skill or not, but I thought that even if you didn't know the answer, if you had passed by a name and wouldn't have been like, oh, that sounds kind of
and there's so many
like,
repeats, right?
Yeah, because they have like a bunch. You've seen the names multiple times. I don't know how many names total they had.
So
out
I
there.
don't think, Scally, that there were any sort of like decoys.
No,
right?
Yeah, I guess
No, there
not.
were because they all came up. You think?
I don't know. Like I didn't see like Andy Richter's name out there or anything like that of like just like randos.
Okay, so if there were 5 rounds with
so there's 25 different answers and then each one is like repeated. Like some of them are repeated like 5 times. Like, how many...
true. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of how many. Oh yeah, maybe you're right. Did every name? I'm trying to think. Well,
did anybody hold up a name?
Come up? I don't remember that coming up.
Yeah, you're right, Jamie. I don't
Jamie Lee Curtis. You're right.
Yeah, so maybe there was.
So
there were some decoys.
There definitely were a few decoys, but I think based on like how
Amy Poehler, wasn't a real clue.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that they should have decoys in there. Because then if it's like, if there's only one country singer, then like that's too easy. Like they need to have multiple options that could fit that sort of like. So I'm maybe there was a.
We got to talk to some claim to fame dream teamers one day.
Please let me help. I want to help.
Okay. I thought this was hilarious that then, and Jennifer Lopez starred in the film Marry Me, which I feel like, Scally, is just best known for being a challenge on Celebrity Big Brother 3 when they had to do the Marry Me. Somebody was the HOH challenge. And I want to say that either Chris Kirkpatrick won or did horrible. Lavina her head's exploding somewhere as she's listening to this.
What a deep pull. I'm remembering very little from that.
Yeah. But anyway, so like it's like such a nothing burger movie, not good burger. The Marry Me, they all got this one. Everybody knew.
I think this speaks to when this was filmed, though, because I think we're saying it probably filmed late February. And didn't Marry Me come out Valentine's Day
of a year earlier, though?
Oh,
of
really?
2022. Yeah, it was like
true.
went
Yeah,
right to Peacock.
okay, then I don't. That I cannot explain. I thought that
I
maybe it
don't
had
know.
just come out a little bit more
Everybody knows
recent.
Owen Wilson so well. Anyway, so Owen Wilson was in Zoolander 2 with this person
Yeah, this person made a
from
small
Doctor
cameo.
Strange. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was
Like if they
Benedict
didn't say
Cumberbatch.
Doctor Who, I wouldn't have I didn't see
Yes.
Zoolander 2 and I didn't know that this person made a
Yeah, Doctor
cameo, but
Strange.
oh sorry, Doctor
Yeah.
Strange, yes.
Yeah. And then finally, then Chris said Matt Damon, no. And then Benedict Cumberbatch was in The Grinch with this SNL person who turns out to be Keenan Thompson, which then ends up where, oh, okay, well, this person is obviously Monet's clue because JB Smoove, but nope, that's more than one relationship with Keenan Thompson.
I loved this. Like in real time, I was like, "Oh my god, is Monet about to like get Gabriel's clue, thinking she's getting her own? What a lovely surprise!" And it actually happened. Like, that's so great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
this
that was
really
win number
funny.
1 for Monet, and she was just heating up. Okay, so we had where then it was Dwayne Johnson was in Baywatch with Zac Efron. This is when Carson got kicked out of the challenge for pushing Scally. She's in the attack zone, or not in the attack zone.
Yeah, I would give up my spot to Carson. Like one look, and I'm stepping off that star.
Mm-hmm.
Let me hold up Jamie Lee Curtis over here by myself, please.
It's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm terrified of you. Do you think that Franklin indicated any rules about pushing ahead of time, or do you think that he just made a call on the field and said that isn't unsportsmanlike? You should know.
Yeah. I think that they probably I suspect in reality TV, I suspect Carson was warned earlier, and then ultimately then ended up getting the hook. If I had to guess,
was JR already securely on the star, and then she just pushed him off and then got on? Because then it's like pretty obvious. It's like, well, he's already there.
Yeah, and JR's boot in the mud might have also been holding him back. In addition to his lack of knowledge, the boot I think also was probably not good.
When I noticed that he was still wearing the boot at the beginning of this episode, I'm like, oh my god, listen, I don't know enough about how bad he injured himself and how long you might need to wear a boot, but I'm like, he's going to spend the whole time of this show in the boot, and he literally leaves tonight still in the boot. It hurt my heart.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that the season actually is that long, though. I feel like
no,
they're
it's
only
probably
there like 2.5
2
weeks.
Yeah. But
okay.
Still,
all right.
feels,
So
I mean, it's long for us, but it is flying by.
Mm-hmm. We go from Zac Efron to Michelle Williams to Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal. And okay, for Monet, Jake Gyllenhaal is in Spider-Man Far From Home. She called it Far From Home. If you don't say Spider-Man Far From Home, I feel like that I'm very confused if you just call a movie Far From Home. I'm like thinking like that sounds like what is that movie?
Yeah.
Far From Home.
Sounds like a Homeward Bound. Like
yes,
like dogs,
a very dramatic
dogs
movie.
Yeah.
Like, wow, Jake Gyllenhaal's in Far From Home. What is that?
Yeah, other than that.
Yeah. So yeah, both seasons of Claim to Fame were heavily into the Spider-Verse that we had. Zendaya in Zendaya's relative in season 1, and now another spider clue.
There's a lot of Spider-Man movies though, isn't there? So it's like at a certain point it's just probability.
That's true. Okay. All right. That ends up being her own clue, which Monet ends up stealing. Okay. Rose to fame on The Office, but then directed a horror franchise. That's John Krasinski is directing horror movies. Did I hear that right?
Yeah. My brain said that it had to be John Krasinski, but I was thinking, what is he producing or directing?
A Quiet Place, right?
Oh, I didn't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the wasn't he in a bunch of those movies based on a book or something, and he's like super
Jack
hot
Ryan.
and ripped?
Yeah.
It's Jack Ryan. Yeah.
Okay. Too
That's
scary.
what my brain went to,
it.
but then I'm like, that's not horror.
Okay.
He's in it.
And then we go from John Krasinski to Emily Blunt to Jon Favreau to Ray Romano. And what was Ray Romano in with Nicki Minaj?
So
It's like
it
some
was some
animated film.
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
said that he voiced a character. I missed what it was though.
Yeah,
Did
me
you catch
too.
this, Callie? No.
No, I don't have the movie in front of me.
Mhm.
I know that there was a Trolls clue earlier. The one that was.
Yeah. I believe Nicki Minaj joined the cast of Ice Age.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay. Today I
Iconic.
learned again.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Anyway,
Nicki Minaj.
we can we get the Owen Wilson instead of, I mean, I think Ray Romano with Nicki Minaj is funnier to me than Ray Romano with Owen Wilson.
Mhm.
Easy.
I
Yeah.
actually just need the normal poster.
Yeah,
but
Nicki
with them on
Minaj
it.
joined the cast of the Ice Age franchise in Ice Age: Continental Drift. You can't forget about Continental Drift.
Oh.
That's a huge mistake. if you
Yeah,
do
I think that's Ice Age 7 or so.
that. Yes. Okay. So there you go. She
Family.
joined Queen Latifah, Drake, Ray Romano, and Dennis Leary in the cast of Ice
What
Age
a
4.
weird collection of people.
Yeah.
Dennis
That could have been one of
Leary?
these.
What?
I want the table read.
Yeah,
That's what I want.
I want to
Okay.
see them all sitting together.
All right. And then ultimately, this leads to JR's clue. Nicki Minaj runs a page with Lil Nas X.
No,
No.
it was Lil Nas X ran a fan page for Nicki Minaj. I guess before he rose to fame. I did not know this. This was, but
I very
Did you-
much did know this.
okay, so this is like a well-known, like, I'm not
Yes.
like, I like Lil Nas X, but I wouldn't like say that I'm like a stan or anything.
You know all
so
the fan
I
pages
don't
he's
know.
made?
Definitely not.
It is like very famously that it was like, oh, Lil Nas X is like going to bat for Nicki Minaj online before he is
he's
famous.
a barb.
He's like,
Yeah,
Ice Age 4 is the best Ice Age.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
So we get to round 5. This person wore a meat dress to I forget what award show. It was Lady
Grammy?
Gaga, although somebody guesses Tony Bennett.
Hmm.
They were
R.I.P.
one step
away.
away.
Yeah,
They were
Photoshop
all-
it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
JR. Yeah, he was one round early for Tony Bennett.
We need Tony Bennett in the meat dress.
Yes. Okay.
Get
And
that
then
going.
we get that Tony Bennett sang with Mariah Carey. Carson goes out here, and then we see that Mariah Carey a duet with Michael Bublé.
Bublé.
Sorry.
Canadian
I don't want to get the
jazz,
Canadians
yeah.
all upset.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And then Monet's like, I won. And nope. You still have to answer the last question. This would have
I
been
think
the
that's
one
fair.
I didn't know of.
Ooh.
Who is this ballroom dancer that works with Michael Bublé?
But if you've been, by this point, it's the end of the challenge. You've been running around in the mud. You've probably seen a ton of names. How many?
I think I would have said,
dancers?
okay, well, maybe this is a name that I do not. Okay, I know it's not Amy Poehler.
Mhm. I mean, I have not watched a lot of
I know
Dancing
it's
with
not
the
Jamie
Stars,
Lee Curtis.
but I've seen enough. Like, I've seen a couple seasons to at least know who Derek.
I don't
Huff
watch
is.
Dancing with the Stars because that show is for people who are not popular anymore, who are
That's
just
what Monet said.
trying to have a comeback. Yes. All right. So there, Derek Huff. Then that's the clue that leads to Chris's relative who won Dancing with the Stars season 9. Are we interested to know who did Donny Osmond beat on
yeah, because
Dancing with the Stars?
I didn't even know that he was on Dancing with the Stars. This is definitely past the point that I had watched.
Okay.
Yeah.
Donny
I never
Osmond.
watched, but I always look at the cast reveal. Like, all right, who fell far enough to end up here?
Yeah.
So you're like Monet. Okay.
Are they saying that? So Derek was Donnie's partner?
No.
Oh,
I think he was just on the same season.
Because I was gonna say, don't they usually do like male female partners?
Usually until I think recently they have had same.
They mixed it up a bit. Okay,
where
I was like, oh,
depending on one's sexuality.
Okay.
All right. So here was the crew for the Dancing with the Stars season 9. You had Ashley Hamilton,
I don't know who that is.
I don't know her. I think this is a Bachelor person.
Oh, okay. I'm probably
Which
recognizing.
one?
Okay. No,
I know there's been a
I'm
bunch
sorry,
of Ashleys, but I don't know Ashley
the
Hamilton.
son of actors George Hamilton. Okay.
Doesn't
Whatever.
help.
Macy
Don't-
Gray was there.
Okay, well,
Oh,
Yeah.
she tried.
She tried. Yep. Certainly. Yep. Kathy Ireland.
I know that name, but I don't know.
Tom DeLay. Former I believe he was was he former Speaker of the House, Tom DeLay.
sure.
Yeah. Debbie Mazar, who's an actress. She's in a bunch of things. I think she
Great IMDb, a bunch of things.
Yeah, I actually think she was. She was just in So I Married an Axe Murderer, which I watched with Josh. Then
she was just in that.
former Celebrity Big Brother participant Chuck Liddell.
Oh,
hopefully he did better.
I'm predicting an early boot for him on that.
Natalie Coughlin, who looks like that maybe she's like an Olympic person. Yeah, she's a swimmer. Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime there's somebody we don't know who they are on one of these shows, they're always like an Olympian. Yeah. Melissa Joan Hart.
Oh,
who was at one time on Nickelodeon with Nick Cannon.
Okay.
Based on some of her comments, I expect one of her relatives to show up soon on Claim to Fame.
But they really just hope that they get canceled after the show.
Yes.
So
Louis Vito, who is a professional snowboarder, again, Olympic story checks out.
Not a great cast.
we had Mark DeCasos, actor and Iron Chef chairman.
Well, as we know, I don't know my Iron Chef. I did not know who Kat Cora was.
Aaron Carter was there.
Oh my
Jonas
goodness.
adjacent. Yeah.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Wow. Okay.
Joanna Krupa. I will tell you that in a
Who's
second.
Joanna Krupa?
Then Kelly Osbourne.
Okay.
Maya.
Okay.
Like singer Maya, yeah.
Yes. And then Donny Osmond.
Wow.
Okay.
And this was
we
2009.
steam at the tail end there.
Just for reference, Hugo was 10 when this was on.
I actually want everything through the lens of how old
I'll tell you,
Hugo
yes. And then anything prior to 1999 is like negative Hugo years.
Negative, yeah. Pre-Hugo.
So Donny Osmond won because he's the only person that the Dancing with the Stars viewing audience had ever heard of before. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, and that was in
100%.
order of elimination. So Donny Osmond beat out Maya.
Okay. And I would think that like Maya definitely did dancing and in her performing, right? Like
not like Donny Osmond.
But not like were the Osmonds big dancers too?
I'm sure they probably had to do some kind of dancing.
Yeah.
But it's ballroom dancing, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, not always. Sometimes they're doing
I'm talking out of my butt, Jenny. I've never watched one episode of Dancing with the Stars.
Well, you are richer for it.
Okay. All right. After the challenge, we get everybody back. Monet's got all the clues. She's got the extra juice on Chris. She's sharing some clues with Carson and JR about Dancing with the Stars. It does not help.
They're so screwed.
No.
They're like, just again being like, was Billy Idol ever on Dancing with the Stars? And they're like, I don't know, maybe. Good enough, I guess.
Yeah. They're like, it's got to be somebody who's kind of was down and out, because we wouldn't go on Dancing with the Stars if you tell that to Hannah Brown, Jenny.
Yeah, precisely. And her star just kept soaring. And she would go on to win many more things. You know, like they even said, well, okay, so Monet is shading Dancing with the Stars, being like, okay, you usually go on this show when your star is fading and you're trying to give yourself a little boost. And then she said, that makes me think it's not Billy Idol. I don't know if she said that. Someone was like, oh, so maybe it's not Billy Idol, because I feel like that doesn't really make sense.
Billy Idol never went away.
But the clearly it wasn't a big enough consideration. They said in passing, oh, maybe it wasn't because maybe he wasn't on Dancing with the Stars. But do
Yeah.
we have anyone else? No.
Okay.
No.
I hope
And-
they ruled out Prince at this point.
I hope so.
This isn't the
Right?
Yes. Because Prince would never go on to do Dancing with the Stars. Still was too big for Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
Much.
So then the thing that was frustrating was that JR is like, I know Carson. I know who Carson is, but I gotta get Chris.
JR.
We need, and we see Gabriel and JR talking about like the only sure shot is Carson, but now Jenny, here's Chris in his spy shack.
Yeah, exactly. Like, everyone. I thought the house was pretty big, and there's only 5 of them at this point. But I guess if you can tell somebody is talking in another room, it's pretty easy to figure out where to go to watch them. So lots of spying going on. They're all getting information from their own eyes.
Yeah. And Gabriel and JR, they are the bottom 2. One of them is going to have to be the guesser. It's interesting, Gabriel Scally, that he knows JR, but it never came up that he would be willing to take the shot on JR if it didn't come up in conversation. Do you think if Gabriel got put into the guess off, he would have guessed Lil Nas X?
I feel like he probably goes Carson there. I think if Carson was not there, I do think he takes the sure shot because he even like throws it out like I might have to. But publicly, at least, he is telling Chris like, no, absolutely not. I will not go for anyone that you're interested in me going for.
Yeah. And I mean, this is like an indicator for Chris too, that like, while Gabriel and Chris have been working very closely with each other, it's becoming clear to him that despite knowing exactly who JR is related to, Gabriel does not want to take the shot on him and would probably go for someone that isn't a 100%, but is pretty damn close and take out Carson here. So like that has to be indicative of something to Gabriel or to Chris here being like, okay, he's got other options. He's got people he's protecting besides me, especially. And I think that was the case before all of this happened between the two of them. Like, I think that Gabriel was always keeping JR in his pocket.
Yeah. So you feel like that he wants to take him to the end?
I think that's what I was thinking last week. I think I said this last week that like, for Gabriel, it's kind of key to try to keep JR as long as possible because that's someone that JR's not going for Gabriel, doesn't know who he is yet. And, he knows that he can take him out when they get down to it if they need to. So it behooves Gabriel to protect JR. Now, if Gabriel really wanted to protect JR, he should have been making sure that he was not going to go for Chris here. But I guess maybe Gabriel is just like, well, maybe he'll be right. I don't know. It's not me.
Scott, it's such a hard game to get down to the end with the group that you or the specific person that you want to be with, because that unlike Survivor or Big Brother, you really can't control what happens in the elimination. Like, it's so up in the air. The best you can do is vote somebody into the elimination or vote yourself, get yourself voted into the elimination where you can be the person to decide who goes home. But there's so many variables in terms of like who goes home from week to week.
It's really hard because you want to win and get those clues, but at the same time, the most control you have is as the guesser, because you vote in anyone and they're liable to just totally turn around and change it up and pull you, as Chris has seen many times at this point.
Yeah. So
especially at the end when there's no immunity, like the only way you are 100% safe from being guessed is being the person guessing. So like when you're getting down to it, if you have a person for sure, you should want to be the guesser.
All right, so Chris and Carson are talking. We get that from Carson. She would rather have Gabriel in the guess off because Gabriel is less likely to guess her at this point in time. Is that right?
Yeah. That's what she says. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, no, I thought she was saying that that Gabriel might go for her. Well, they both might go for her, but she knows that JR is a little bit more considering taking out Chris.
She does vote for JR.
Yeah, so I think that she was saying like there's a chance that both of them are going to go for me, but she knows that that JR really wants Chris out. So I don't think she doesn't say this to Chris, but you know, she is at least kind of recognizing that there's more of a chance that JR goes for somebody else.
All right, so we're going to see Monet and JR talking, and they're going over the clues that Monet got, and they talk about All That, and JR says that was his favorite show. He loves All That, who was on All That with Kenan Thompson, and for the first time this season, somebody mentions the name of Gabriel's relative, and they do say, could it be Nick Cannon? They don't seem very confident, but I do feel like, this is now the first time that I am now worried about Gabriel.
It's been uttered.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this interaction was really confusing because JR says it could. So Monet says the clue had nothing to do with football. JR says it could be an actor, but it could also still be a football player. Please let the football player go. Oh my gosh. And then he said it could be a child actor because they're talking about the All That. And yeah, Monet says Nick Cannon, and JR immediately goes no.
Yep.
Why?
Because he's so set on this football player. He's like, I know. So I think he's still on Julius Peppers, right?
Julius
he's like,
Peppers,
yeah, he could have been a child actor. Like, I feel like you would have known if he was on your favorite childhood show if Julius Peppers was on it.
Yeah.
like
you know Julius Peppers, so I think that if this was also your favorite show as a child, you might have made that connection at some point.
If I'm still talking about Lori Beth Denberg, like we would have been talking about Julius Peppers on All That still.
I love JR. Like, I think he was really fun, but perhaps him going is like the best thing that they could do for them trying to get Chris out, because he's shooting down rational thoughts.
Right. He's throwing out a lot of bad ideas also.
Yeah. And he's blinded by just trying to take this shot. So,
well, in terms of like the winner edit on this, Scally, Jenny and I have been talking for a while. I felt very good that Gabriel was going to win this thing. This is the first week that I'm saying that maybe Gabriel isn't going to win, and maybe it's Monet.
Ooh, Monet would be a very fun winner. I would not have predicted that for a long time. I've just been assuming we're working towards this like Gabe and Chris like end game, and it just feels maybe too perfect. A Monet winner edit would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Rob, that's where I've landed after tonight's episode. I feel I've been a little worried about Gabriel because I think that I think no one knows who Monet's relative is, and they're running out of people to help with that. I don't know if Monet's clue has been shared with Carson, but Carson is the only other person left now that could help, because between Gabriel and Chris, they haven't been able to figure it out. They don't know Curb Your Enthusiasm. Now, Chris, obviously no one knows who he is. I think that we are going to get down to those three, Gabriel, Chris, and Monet, and that I'm quite concerned that we are going to lose Gabriel at 3, with Monet maybe being the person that takes him out, and then we're down to, do Monet and Chris ever figure out who each other are?
Yeah, whoever doesn't have to guess is going to be the winner of the season,
and I think Monet's good at challenges too, because actually that's a toss-up, because I think Monet and Chris, depending on what these challenges
are, she's way better at challenges than he is.
She's better at the pop culture. She killed this challenge, but it depends on what the challenge is, because Chris is just kind of good at like skill things, right? So if it's not just trivia, like Chris definitely does have.
But I think the challenges are going to be sort of like knowing stuff. I think that's going to be, I think, really in her wheelhouse. And maybe this whole season ends up being a whole full-on reverse Monet, because from way back when, I didn't think it was looking too good for Monet, but now we're getting close up, and now I'm thinking it looks pretty good for her.
Yeah. I think that there's a very, very good chance that Monet is our winner at this point, for sure. I definitely can see it, because if she wins that challenge, she gets to choose who's guessing, right? So if it's down to her and Chris, she says, guess me. Good luck.
Good luck. Okay. So Chris and Gabriel, get back together, and this is sort of like bookending that conversation from the beginning of the episode. And it's like, hey, okay, maybe we were a little rash, and now I'm in the situation where I'm gonna have to guess potentially tonight. So let's let bygones be bygones. And Chris ends up saying that, hey, I think I might have something for you about Monet. Okay, that sign, family is everything. Think about it. Jaleel White could be the celebrity relative for Monet.
Didn't they look at dossiers with freaking birth dates on them? Like, I don't know how old Jaleel White is, but I don't think that Jaleel White is old enough to be Monet's dad, right?
Also, isn't family is everything referring to the Osmonds? And so shouldn't Chris know that this is, in fact, not referring to Monet?
Was this a fake out? Okay.
Yeah. Well, honestly,
yeah.
I don't necessarily think that Chris fully is like believing this, but is just maybe trying to like feel like he's giving something to Gabriel to be like, listen, I'm contributing. I'm trying to help.
Sam, can we get the clue wall back up? Are there any Urkel clues out there?
Okay, so Jaleel White is born in 76, so maybe it is possible that
yes, biologically, I think he could.
It is biologically possible.
I don't know how old Monet is. I'm imagining she's in her mid-20s. So
yeah.
Hey, look, he was hot back then. Maybe who knows?
How?
So
10 years older. So JB Smoove is 10 years older. He's 65.
Yes. I don't know. So his daughter. He has one daughter, and she's actually born in 2009. So Hugo was 10 years old when Jaleel's White was born.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. I don't know where we're getting any Urkel clues from. Like, wouldn't there be like some cheese on the board or something?
But there's some
suspenders.
Yeah, something up here.
Something.
What else has Jaleel White done that we could be making references to besides Family
He
Matters?
Has worked in a lot of different things. Certainly he has not had a role as popular as Urkel. But
he's done a bunch of Sonic.
He was the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog.
He was the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog.
No, not in the most recent movie. Yes, but in the animated series.
I learned so much every week on this podcast, and I'm grateful.
Yes, well, Jenny, I'm surprised you didn't know about Sonic the Hedgehog because it came up on Jury Duty.
Well, I here's the thing: is I know about Sonic the Hedgehog, but I still did not watch the movie or pay attention to the IMDb for it beyond our friend James Marsden.
Yes, because the guy on Jury Duty loved Ben Schwartz.
Yes. Not enough to buy it, though.
Not enough to buy it. Yes.
Just a rental.
All right. So I don't know if Gabriel's buying this, but he's like, okay, all right, maybe Jaleel White.
Sure.
Okay, sure. But
anyway,
JR's like Billy Idol. He wore colorful vests, colorful jackets. It's got to be him. Shooter's gonna shoot. I gotta go after Chris.
Billy Idol colorful vests.
I really don't think Billy Idol. I could see him in red.
Red, yes. There's lots of iconic photos of him shirtless with a open red leather vest. I'm not seeing much beyond that. So this is a way worse guess than Elton John, which was already insane.
All right. So was nothing leading you to Billy Idol. Actually, let's rank the three guesses. Okay. Elvis Presley, Billy Idol, Elton John. Scally, could you rank from best to worst the three guesses for Chris?
I feel like it's maybe in the order that they were guessed. I think I go Elvis Presley number one. And especially like considering that how little information they were operating based off of then.
Yes.
Then move into Elton John, despite not being anywhere close to Utah. And then Billy Idol is truly a fabrication of the imagination. So.
I co-sign that order. While
and Prince will be then the worst.
Oh yes.
If it happens, Rob, I will come unglued. I don't even know how it'll process the logic behind that. Then they're just throwing their game. But I agree. While I nitpicked Jane's interpretation of the clue back then, she at least logicked her way into something that could make sense for Elvis Presley based on the information they had at that point.
Okay.
So that was probably the least terrible guess.
All right, so I want to talk about the votes because I think that the voting was a little interesting here. Okay, so we saw Carson votes for JR, and she's feeling like, okay, JR is probably gonna guess for Chris. Chris votes for Gabriel, I guess, hoping that Gabriel is going to maybe take the shot at Monet for Jaleel White, or maybe or is that what he was hoping?
No, I think he was hoping that that because Gabe didn't want to be the guesser, and Gabe the person that Gabe felt strongest about is JR. And so Chris, I think, was secretly hoping that in a panic, if Gabriel becomes the guesser, he will get rid of JR.
Yeah.
And that's good for Chris. So I think that was what he was mostly hoping for.
And then we didn't see Monet's vote, but because JR becomes the guesser, Monet votes for JR. That Jenny, do you think that this was the right call for Monet to put JR in to go up there and guess Billy Idol, as opposed to Gabriel, who is the one person that had her clue?
I think, I do think that this is the right call for her because it is an anybody but me kind of call for Monet here, where she knows that JR is either going to take out Carson or try to go for Chris. And so she's not the one taking the risk at taking out Chris, even if she thinks that Billy Idol is like a real stretch. She's not the one that has to do it. So, it's not like if JR goes, then that sucks, but maybe he's right. And then that's great for her. And Carson going isn't the worst for her either. And JR probably has no idea who she is. So she's not at risk either way.
Yeah, I guess in a way that this is like classic Monet. I mean, this is like what her and Shane did to Jane way back when, of like, Jane is like, wait, I think it's Elvis Presley. Like, yes, do that. It's like, it's a win-win.
And as long as they're guessing somebody that isn't you, like, that's not bad for you at this point. Like, yes, maybe early in the game when you're trying to like protect your numbers or like, make sure that people that you're working with or that, have information that you need aren't getting taken out, then. But like when you're down to 5, like anyone that is being eliminated or being guessed that is not you is good for your game. Like you just go, you vote in the person that is least likely to guess you.
Okay.
And I think that between JR and Gabriel, that was probably the case.
So we're going to get to the reveal. Okay, it's JR. And he says, I'm going to wing it today.
Just wing it, bro.
Going to go for Chris.
I screamed when he said Chris's name. I was like, because we know who he's guessing. We know he's wrong. So it was just, I felt like the wind got knocked out of me. I was like, this is absolutely absurd to me at this point. We're still doing this.
Yep. And he's going to guess Billy Idol. Okay, let's go to the clue wall. Let's see. And for the third time this season, we incorrectly have guessed Chris. Scally, will this claim to fame record stand forever? Will anybody ever be guessed incorrectly 3 times in one season again?
I don't think so. I feel like they're going to continue to get bigger and bigger names, and also maybe account for this in the future with their easy of their clues. So I think this is going to stand. I think we might even get a 4th wrong guess on Chris for all we know.
We got time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we could get one in the finale also. Chris could
4th,
win.
5th, 6th.
So. Oh, okay.
I don't think anyone, if you are in the finale and you have the ability to not guess Chris, like, don't guess Chris unless you've somehow really figured it out with a lot of evidence. I feel like it's a curse at this point. Do not guess Chris in the finale unless something has changed and you've gotten so much information. It's just not safe at this point.
It's not safe. Okay.
No.
So Let's then see. Let's find out who you're really related to. And turns out that it's Lil Nas X. And JR's real
Yeah.
name isn't even JR.
Well, he said
Well,
it's
it kind
something. It was something Robert, right?
it
Yeah.
is, but
Jean Robert. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yes. But Lil Nas X refers to him as Robert, right?
Yeah.
yeah, his annoying big brother Robert, I think is what he says.
Yeah.
But this
Big
is the
Nas
thing,
X.
because didn't Franklin say, "Is JR even your name?" And he says yes, and then he says something Robert. But I
Mhm.
think that this is like a sibling thing, right? Where like Lil Nas X probably calls him Robert to like be a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? Or like
Mhm.
it's like how my family will call me Jen or Jennifer, and I hate it, but I just let them do
Mhm.
it.
Mhm. Okay. So nice video from Lil Nas X. I mean, imagine. I mean, if Nicki Minaj was on the show, imagine the video Lil Nas X would have made.
That is true.
Mhm.
A much closer
I,
loved one.
Yes. Okay.
featuring
And
Owen Wilson.
yeah, that everybody's like, "Who are you? We don't know." Like, who could you be, Chris?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
stop guessing him.
I know the
Stop.
fact that
You're guessing
JR
again.
goes out and it's like, I have no regrets about picking Chris. Like, you should probably have a little bit of a
Yeah,
regret.
considering you knew the identity of at least one other person.
Yeah, I just think that, these people are just blinded by their need to eliminate Chris in some capacity. It's like, listen, there's still time for this to shake out in a different way. There's still time for Chris to maybe be put in a guessing position and not know what he's doing. Like, there are other ways. It's not a guarantee that Chris will win if you don't get him out at 5, like, just save yourself, please. I hope
Mhm.
somebody that is going to be on, season 3, let's hope there is one, um, learns from this. I hope this season is a cautionary tale of just take the sure shot,
Yeah.
especially if you're at 5.
You got to. All right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So it ultimately ends up down to the final 4. Okay. And Chris is the cockroach that nobody can get rid of. There's Monet, there's Gabriel, and Carson is somehow still there. Scully, earlier in the season, I thought like Carson was like persona non grata, but she sort of like wormed her way back into being like a functioning member of the house.
Right? If anyone was going to be called a cockroach at this point, I did think that it would be Carson, considering how early she was being targeted.
Yeah.
The fact that she's still here, every week I come in like, all right, it's got to be Carson's week. So, still
Mhm.
feeling like that next week, but who knows?
I know,
Mhm.
because I definitely thought we were losing Carson this week. I thought it was basic. I mean, I thought there was a chance it could be JR, but I thought it would be by somebody guessing him, not this way. I really do think, unless like Monet figures out Gabriel's clue and decides that she wants to take a shot at Gabe, or someone's going to take a shot at Gabriel, I really think that we lose Carson at 4, because
Mhm.
that is the only other, like, that's now with JR gone, Carson is the only name that people feel confident on. So it feels like a guarantee that she probably goes at 4. But yeah, I don't know. It's been an interesting season. I don't know how to feel about this all.
Okay. All right. Well, I think Carson is out next. I think
Yeah.
it goes Carson, and then at the final 3, I think it's really anybody's game.
Yeah.
I'll have to see what the challenges look like in the end game, whether we're gonna get not evicted, but the eliminated players coming back. Are they going to be able to help, or are they just going to be there, like, because they've done a lot of the same stuff as last season when it comes to challenges and stuff like that, but like with tweaks. So I'm interested to see what they took away from the end game of last season and whether they're going to make some adjustments to that.
Jenny, I wish I could remember how they did the vote at the final 4, right? Is it bottom 2 and then 2 people are going to vote? And then what if it's a tie?
The winner get to
Bottom.
break it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe the challenge winner.
Everyone up for grabs?
Hmm.
I don't know. I actually cannot remember how that,
No.
like, I can remember who went at 4, but I don't remember how they got there.
And yeah, claim
And
to
well, maybe
fame
it was
wiki.
maybe it was just unanimous, and so we didn't have any It didn't come up what would happen, but I feel like there's definitely like there's some sort of tie-breaking
That's
method.
not the right claim to fame wiki that I got onto.
Oh.
Okay. We need this. We need that. We need all of the confessional charts. Come
Mhm.
on, step
Yeah.
up your game, everybody. I know
Give
you're
me the claim
distracted
to
with Big Brother.
fame. I want the edgic.
We want it. All right. Okay. So boy, Sam Moore is giving me some notes behind the scenes about what's
Yeah.
coming up for claim to fame. And
I'm shook.
this is shocking to me in terms of how the rest of the season is going to go. So, of course, Sam Moore is reporting that no claim to fame next Monday night on
Wow.
August 21st. Claim to fame will not air due to a 3-hour Bachelorette finale. Okay.
Rude to do on my mom's birthday, to be honest.
On my
But
mom's birthday.
of all days, she loves the show.
Right. And
she
then
hates The Bachelor.
so then on August 28th, Claim to Fame will be back with a 2-hour finale. So we will get the final 2 episodes of Claim to Fame back at 8 p.m. when we will get the final 4 and then ultimately the finale all in one night. And then we will be back after that episode with a finale recap and then hopefully maybe some exit press, Jenny? Is that too
Oh my
good?
gosh, please.
We'll see.
please.
I don't think we'll have it immediately, but we will be
Let's
pursuing
try.
them. Yeah.
I think we should definitely pursue because without knowing how things are going to ultimately end, I still have so many questions.
Yeah.
And
So
a great cast. Like there's so many people I would love to talk to. So
yes, we love this cast. This was a great season. Can't wait to see how it's going to play out. All right. Anything else claim to fame tonight? Okay.
No.
that's basically.
I'm excited for a
so-
2-hour finale.
2-hour finale. Well, that'll be fun, but it's all in one shot then the rest of the way. Okay.
Do we want to? Well, okay. This is our last
make a winner
opportunity
pick?
to do winner picks. So do we want to get it on record? What we're make our shots?
Sure.
So
Okay.
my winner pick, I alluded to it earlier, is going to be Monet.
Monet.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. I've stuck with Gabriel all season long. I want to will it into existence. I want to speak it into the universe. I want Gabriel to win.
Okay. Let's make this interesting. I feel
yeah.
like we're getting a
Chris?
villain winner this season. I think Chris is winning. No one's guessing him. 3 more in a row.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen, I love that we're all gonna take someone different here. That makes it interesting.
Very fun.
So I'm sorry to Carson. We've decided.
Sorry, no, Carson is definitely
Yeah.
beyond a shadow of a doubt. I'd be shocked if Carson isn't the next person to go out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would be as well. Yeah.
All right. Scally, what else are you working on these days?
A lot. So lately, anything you want, anything I'm doing, you can find over on Twitter at Brian_Scally. Also over on Twitch at twitch.tv/bscally. I am podcasting twice a week with Kirsten over on the RHAP Wrap-Ups and Hot Dummies on Island feed about Love Island USA. We are finishing up Casa Amor, what I think is probably the best season of Love Island USA. I can pretty confidently say that.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I think it's been super fun, on par with like a UK season is my teaser.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
It's a rave review.
I love it. Truly come in every week excited to talk about it.
Oh, I love that. That makes me
right?
happy. Yeah. I want you to be happy. I don't want
thank
you
you.
to be having to watch a show like 5 or 6 days a week and have it be killing your soul. So that I'm glad.
Yes, every episode is exciting on that show. So it's been very enjoyable over there. Also, the Challenge USA just premiered. So I'll be talking about that with Matt Ligori over on the Dom and Colin podcast. I also am guesting with Rob on the Feedbag this week over in the Patreon podcast. So if you're not already
we're
a patron,
watching
you can
feeds
check that
and
out.
vibing.
Yeah, exactly. All vibes, down for that.
Mhm.
And then I guested on the Lonely Boys podcast talking about Gossip Girl. So if people have a hankering to go back to classic Gossip Girl, that's over there as well.
Okay. Well, Scott, this was so fun to have you here to talk some claim to fame. Thank you for sweating it out in your colorful jacket here with us.
And I better
Appreciate
see
that.
it in person.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I turned the air conditioning down on purpose.
And Jenny, we took a week off from Stars on Mars, but we'll be back
We'll be
into it.
back.
Scott, have you checked out Stars on Mars?
I am a faithful podcast listener of
Okay.
Stars
Oh,
on
appreciate
Mars.
that. Appreciate that. But
And
we'll
I
be back
respect
at
it.
it this week. Got to catch up on what happened on this past week's Stars on Mars.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do a double header this week, and that's got to be kind of gearing down as well. I think we're getting close to the end on that.
Mhm.
As long as there isn't some sort of surprise where there's gonna be like a bunch of new people again. I don't think that that's happening.
I don't think they're doing it. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All
check
right,
out
well-
Hit or Quit.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then we'll be back to Hit or Quit full time. Then after Claim to Fame wraps up in 2 weeks. So be sure to follow us there. Thank you so much for joining us here to talk Claims to Fame. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.